I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Victor.
No problem. Happy to go with that. If you've ever watched The Wire, I don't know if you have or not.
No, I've never watched The Wire. No.
Basically, the hardest drugs are run from Washington, D.C., even down to Richmond, Virginia, and all the way up to New York City.
That's interesting. Isn't Washington, D.C. the capital of the United States?
Yes.
Welcome back to the I Jupiter podcast. I'm your host, Tom Franklin, and today we have on the Reverend Victor S. Johnson. He's going to come on here and he's going to drop some bombs. He's a big fan of history and strange occurrences, and you just never know what to expect from this guest, but it's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope you guys enjoy it as well. So without further ado, welcome to the I Jupiter podcast, Mr. Reverend Victor S. Johnson.
Happy to be here, Tom. Hold on. I gotta get the lighting right. There we go.
So, how's your shack? You built yourself a little podcasting shack.
Yep. If you hear any sounds outside, that is the imminent collapse of the Arctic shelf raining down on the eastern seaboard. Just ignore it. Not a tornado, so I'm okay.
So why did you build a shack? What'd you do that for?
Believe it or not, to get better audio quality. The last time I was on a podcast with you, also just kind of a meditation shack and a he shed, as the kids are calling it. But where I could record, maybe I can make more content because I'm lagging on it.
Yeah, I see. So for the viewers of the Lost Frequency podcast, which is not the name of this one, what about the Eye of Jupiter podcast? Would you like that one instead?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm hoping to go someday.
For the viewers of the Eye of Jupiter podcast, could you do us a favor? Tell us a little bit about yourself and where we can find you.
Yes, I am the Reverend Victor S. Johnson. I am the host of the YouTube channel Destination Spooky. I was a guest, as a matter of fact, on the Lost Frequency. Still in contact with both you and Rye. I'm here tonight to talk about disappearances.
Disappearances. Okay, so where do we begin, Mr. Johnson?
I'm glad you asked. Also, for those wondering at home, I am a real reverend, and what's funny enough, that's come into contention lately. Like on my old Zach Bagans videos, people are like, I don't think you're a reverend at all. I'm like, no, my name isn't Victor Johnson, but I am a damn reverend. Give me that much.
I never questioned it. I just thought, if it's his moniker, if it's his things that he's doing, you know what? I'll roll with the punches. And so, what are you, an ordained minister? What exactly is the background on that?
Oh yeah, I'm a Universal Life Church guy. Anybody can get ordained with them. It takes 5 minutes. It's free. I don't have my certificate of what is it?
All-inclusive?
Ordination, I guess. Because it's like $25. I don't feel like paying for that.
Okay.
So
you just wanted a title, and you were like, yes, Reverend.
Yeah.
What's wrong with Mister? What's wrong with Mister?
Mister works. I mean, but it's weird that people are like insulting me because they're trying to defend Zach Bagans, and like I didn't even like say anything bad about Zach Bagans. It's
I don't even know who that is. I don't even know who that is, dude. So
no! Here comes the wrath of a bunch of people you'll never meet in real life, telling you that you're a monster now, Tom. So.
Oh, you know what? It's probably true. Yeah, I don't know who he is, but they don't know who Mike Scheid is from the band Yob. So he's like my favorite musician. So go with it. Yeah, there it is. So we're going to get into disappearances. Okay, let me know. So go ahead and chime in with that. Let's see where we're going to go with this, dude.
Well, let's talk about one of your least favorite subjects, the government. And first, we have a government official. Well, the American government, to be fair.
Okay.
Former district attorney of the great state of Pennsylvania, Ray Gricar. This is a good one. Gricar was a district attorney for decades. In 1998, he had a chance to bring a case against a figure of a lot of bad notoriety in the Happy Valley area of Pennsylvania where he resided.
Okay.
That would be the defensive coordinator of the Penn State Nittany Lions. Does that ring a bell?
It certainly does. Very, very well noted school. Okay. I was going to bring up the fact that they're very good at like middle linebackers, but sure, Jerry Sandusky. Let's go down that route.
Well, sadly, Sandusky was the one who kind of trained the middle linebackers in between all the other stuff he was doing. But this happened too, by the way.
That is such an unfortunate connection that we made.
It's those unfortunate connections on stuff like this that like keeps me going and got me into YouTube in the first place. But
because we all know that you're sad inside, so you need those unfortunate connections to give yourself a little bit of like meaning to life.
Oh yeah. I'm literally listening to the destruction of Mother Nature as we record this podcast, and I think, you know what? Let's talk about the guy who didn't prosecute all those years. And bleep that, by the way, when you go to upload this to YouTube. I don't want you to get demonetized in the future. I forgot I can't say that one.
For saying the P word?
Yes, the P word.
You can't say that word even in the context of it being bad?
I don't think so. I mean, it just kind of comes up when I listen to one of these, YouTube screwed us over vids from like commentary creators. So
okay, so that's at the very beginning. I'll find it.
Yeah, but yeah, he had a chance to prosecute Sandusky in 1998. He didn't take it. Sandusky left the team and came back. And then this was a problem again in the 2000s, and that's when Sandusky was finally indicted, sent to jail. Joe Paterno retired in shame, died a little bit later, et cetera, et cetera. We all remember that.
Yes.
It actually may or may not have anything to do with what happened to Ray Gricar later. Now, eventually, Ray retires. And his retirement was 2004 or 2005. He wasn't seeking re-election, and by all accounts, he was looking forward to retirement. Now, in addition to the Sandusky thing, he was involved in some sort of, well, I shouldn't say he was involved with it. He was involved in trying to stop some sort of heroin ring. Now, you're from the DMV area. You know that that's the heroin corridor of the United States.
DMV, what does that mean? Demilitarized vehicles? Well, what's DMV?
District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia.
Okay, that's what they call that? All right.
Yeah, the DMV. And then above
Okay.
that is the Mid-Atlantic. That's Delaware, Jersey, Pennsylvania, and then
Okay,
you have
that's
North
the
Jersey.
heroin corridor. All right, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Thanks, Victor.
no problem. Happy to go with that. If you've ever watched The Wire, I don't know if you have or not.
No, I've never watched The Wire. No.
Basically, the hardest drugs are run from Washington, D.C., even down to Richmond, Virginia, and all the way up to New York City.
That's
So,
interesting. Isn't Washington, D.C. the capital of the United States?
yes,
That's so interesting.
there's a lot of rats in Washington, D.C. Just food for thought if you ever decide to go on a daytime tour. You will see gigantic rats. Not even like that wasn't even satire about the political corruption in America. It literal rats just all over the place.
Yeah, wow. Got to call the
So
Pied Piper.
yeah. Now Happy Valley is about 2 or 3 hours from the heroin corridor, so it makes sense that maybe it could have leaked out into western Pennsylvania. And allegedly, he was tracking a gang that was running heroin out there. Nothing ever came of it. There were no arrests. Now, in 2005, Ray had retired. He had a girlfriend by this point. He had been divorced, I want to say twice. And he was living out in Center County, Pennsylvania
Okay.
with his girlfriend. They had planned on going antiquing one day. Ray Grykar was never seen again.
Wow.
His car was abandoned. His laptop was found in the Susquehanna River, I want to say, damaged beyond repair. The hard drive was missing. Looking at other computers he had at his home, authorities noticed.
Well, how did they know that it's his computer if the hard drive's missing? There's some other way of like recognizing it. I mean, how would they know that? I'm not a computer guy.
Well, I don't think they were looking for any other computers. Also, they may have found his fingerprints on it. So, I mean.
Okay, yeah. One and one is two.
Right. And they put two and two together, to jump back on that analogy, because he'd been looking up at a different computer how to destroy a hard drive so that no one could ever read what was going on the hard drive. And in 2005, he went missing. He was never heard from again. There was no sign of his body. It never washed up anywhere. According to his family, he wasn't suicidal, didn't have a history of that, and he was looking forward to retirement. He was ruled dead in absentia about 6 years later. He also had an older brother who had disappeared in 1996 and was found dead a week later of a suspected drowning. That's what the coroner ruled it.
Oh, it's kind of like that Boeing guy recently.
Yes. Yeah, wait to cite President the headlines.
I finally did it. It was eventually it was going to happen. The thing is, this podcast is going to come out in about 2 months. I'm a little backlogged, but I could not miss the chance to get Mr. Reverend Vigorous Johnson on my show. I might squeeze you in. You never know. I kind of have a main thing that I do, and then seems to be like these little interesting sidebars are coming up, whether it be psychedelics or consciousness or shows like yourself, which is a great channel, by the way. I do visit your channel. I do enjoy your channel, Destination Spooky. It's a very cool channel, man.
Thank you, Tom. I'm glad someone does. I think we're up to 5 now out of the 2,500 subscribers I have. I think maybe 5 people actually enjoy it. So, you take them where you can get them.
There you go.
Also, if I'd have known we were going to talk about psychedelics, I absolutely would have taken some before we started. But
we'll do that next time around. We can actually, if you can actually delve into psychedelics and talk about those, we can definitely come back on and do that.
Ayahuasca tea. Got it written down here. Now I just need to play that out. Yeah.
You have such a strange and dry sense of humor, and it always fucking kills me, dude.
I aim to please. Stop.
I know. Okay, so he's never heard from him again. he is then, I don't know the word you use. You like to use big words, but 6 years after his disappearance, he was then pronounced dead.
Yeah,
Okay.
court legally pronounced him dead, so that's so that they can move on with the whole thing, his will and everything, and whatnot. So,
Okay.
all right, and we can go to the next one.
Oh, sure. If you want to go chronologically, sure. The next one.
Well, it's not really chronological, funny enough.
Well, we're
Some
gonna
of
go back
these
in
have
time.
been. Here's the way I set this up tonight. Here's the way I put the list together. We start with the government.
Yes.
And then we have possible government and extraterrestrial activity, and then total
Ooh.
extraterrestrial activity, and then circling all the way back around as a bonus, a legendary writer who wrote about disappearances who also disappeared.
Interesting. I love how
So
you're going to go to UFO route because, as you can see, we have a little alien guy up there checking you out there. So
I
this is
did
for
see
you.
that. Like that one I estimated for. So I figured that beats earthbound geographical anomalies
Oh,
in your case.
okay.
Maybe Rye will like that one. I'll ask him after
Oh, sure. All right, so we're going to transfer from government to
Mm-hmm.
government UFO. All right, let's go.
Kenny Beach. He was a sort of YouTuber. He liked to hang out on YouTube in the comments section. Boo, by the way. But
Did you say boo?
yeah, boo, not as a ghost, but as a
That's the
BFY,
same.
man.
That's the
I am
same thing I
actually,
do. That
yeah,
is the same thing I do. I say literally. I just go boo.
yeah.
I swear.
Kenny would have been in my comments telling me I'm not a real reverend if he were still with us, I'm
Okay.
sure.
All
But
right. Poor fella.
well, I'm not really. But
Poor fella.
mhm. He hung out on YouTube in the comments section. Again, boo. He hung out on Reddit, but specifically his interests were hiking where he lived, which was Nevada, southern Nevada in the Henderson, Las Vegas area. And he had watched some Area 51 video on YouTube, and I want to say that the video was like sensationalized, as everyone is wont to do, the big reaction thumbnail of
Yes. Yes.
we step foot on Area 51. Can't wait to use that in a video so
Yeah.
everyone can insult me about it. But that's gonna be my headshot on the episode, isn't it?
No. I'm gonna
Everyone
probably.
headshots.
I'm probably going to go through your Facebook profile and find one. But if you want to send me one with a nice camera with a little bit of lighting on it with that thing, we can totally do that. We can actually
Okay,
get like the words of the Eye of Jupiter like coming out of your mouth or something. We can do something special just for you.
okay. I'll set something up. I'll send it to you.
Working
All
on your
right.
improvisational skills, I see.
Yeah. Oh, baby. So, Kenny was an avid hiker, and
Mhm.
he considered himself something of a survivalist. And his problem with the Area 51 video was how sensationalized it was. And in the comment of this video, he went into how he discovered a cave where the mouth was shaped like an M. Just let's try to, yeah, there it
Yeah,
is, like an
yeah,
M.
yeah,
And
yeah. The letter, it's the letter. Yes.
right, so two different entrances, I suppose. And he'd stumbled upon this cave, and he had a weird feeling of vibrating vertigo, like every nerve in his body was shaking.
Wow.
And he had lightheadedness, dizziness, he barely knew where he was, and he was way far from the road, about 4 hours. He'd hiked from his car all the way out to this cave and just found it randomly. He liked to hike alone, though he wasn't a loner, and he liked to test himself. According to him, he played with rattlesnakes. Good luck with that.
Yes.
But I digress. So he mentions this cave on Reddit. Now, I don't know what that was, but we're okay. Now, Reddit is this literal godless place where anyone says whatever they want about whatever they want, and usually devolves into a nightmarish hellscape of stupid arguments.
Yeah,
I'm gonna let my
I tend to get kicked off Reddit all the time for actually following the rules because every subreddit has rules. You
yeah.
follow those rules. I try to promote my podcast on there, and it goes, there's a standard one, be human. That one, there's a standard one. I go, okay, no problem. Post a link. You can post it. Make sure you add, your tags and all that. And you still get kicked off, and I don't understand.
Yeah, I barely check in on mine, but it exists nevertheless.
Yes.
Reddit does,
Mm-hmm.
and
And that's where he posted this.
Right.
Right. This is where he posted his M cave.
Well, yeah. Well, he posted a story about it. Really
Okay.
detailed story about the vibration and everything. And the first thing people asked was, "Where's the pictures of it? Where's the video of it? Give us something." And then they kept goading Kenny to go back there. So Kenny starts a YouTube channel where he goes and he hikes and searches for the cave. And he doesn't find the cave during his only upload. This makes things exponentially worse because the only thing worse than posting on Reddit innocuously is when you try to prove anything on Reddit. Because immediately people were like, "There's no cave. You're full of crap." Da 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 da. And this hurt Kenny's pride. So he posts one last time. "I'm going to go out to find the cave. I brought my cameras this time. You're going to get the proof." Kenny Veach was never heard from again after that third time he went out to the cave.
Wow. This kind of reminds me of a missing 411 kind of things where these people go into like a national forest and they just disappear. And if you're out there in the middle of the Nevada desert, 4 hours away from a road or your car, wherever you're parked, that can happen. That can happen.
Yeah.
It's just such an odd thing that seems to be like on the increase.
The Mojave Desert kind of has that effect on you. Like I felt the spiritual effect out in the Mojave Desert. I have also hiked in the Mojave Desert, specifically at a place called you're gonna love this, Devil's Hole.
Sounds like a brothel in some foreign country. Sure.
There is a brothel a mile away from it, but it closed. Due to lack of foot traffic, I assume it's really desolate out there. But yeah, there was a brothel when I went.
Okay, this begs the question. Okay, there's a brothel when you went, and it begs the question is why it is now closed, Victor.
Oh, it was closed when I drove past it on the way to Devil's Hole. That one I can explain away, no problem.
Oh, okay. Wow.
There's a rational explanation for that one. Now, Reno, don't ask me about it. But
okay.
So yeah, don't ask me about Reno. I love you, Reno. If anyone from Reno is watching, the greatest little city on earth. But Devil's Hole, not to sidebar too quickly, but it's an underwater lake. Well, no, all lakes have underwater. It's an underground lake. Excuse me. You climb up a hill, and then you see an inlet with water down there, and no one knows how deep that cave lake goes. People have gone down, I want to say at least 1,000 feet, but I could be wrong.
Whoa.
Some people have swam down and never come back up, so technically that is disappearances. But here's the kicker. Charles Manson tried to lead the Manson family into Devil's Hole because he thought there was an ancient civilization once you swim down past the lake.
That's something very interesting.
Yes.
There's a lot more to that we can maybe unpack at a later date. That is very interesting.
Oh, absolutely. And I would go in, well, I wouldn't make it out, but I would at least look closer. I've been there. I've hiked it. I have photos of that. But long story short, getting back to it, the Mojave kind of has a lot of secrets out there. And that was Kenny's whole thing. They found his cell phone right out in front of an abandoned mine shaft. Authorities didn't say if it was a cave with an M-shaped entrance or not.
Okay.
But Kenny has never been recovered. His cell phone was dead. There was no video on it. He likely wasn't recording. People speculate that there is extraterrestrial activity involved based on the fact that he felt that feeling in his nerves that the government might have been testing some sort of electric weapon.
Okay. I mean that's possible. I mean, they have the rail guns and they have all that, and especially if he's in Nevada, near Groom. Is this near Groom Lake? By any chance?
I believe it's in that area. Yeah, there's an old nuclear testing site in North Nevada. I'm not sure if he was there or if he was in Henderson. And when I say North Nevada, I mean North Las Vegas. North Nevada is actually Reno, and then the Mormon part that we're not going to discuss. But in northern Las Vegas, like outside of Pahrump,
there's no reason to bring it up if we're not going to discuss it.
What do we have to say about Mormons that hasn't already been said?
I don't know, man. I got my protective underwear. I got my planet already. I'm good to go.
I'm glad you have your protective underwear. That's not the sponsor of this week's episode, is it?
It most certainly is. Mormon underwear. Go out and buy two, get one free. Sponsored by the Reverend Victor S. Johnson, formerly a peddler of farts in a jar.
Be sure to use code SPOOKY and get half off a pre-owned pair of Mormon protective underwear.
Oh man, we always go off the rails. I think we get to like having the stories, and we just kind of like it's more of a improv comedy that is so weird between us.
Yeah. We're making good time though, Tom. We're making incredible time.
Because I know that behind the scenes here, like Victor's like, I was like, hey man, you want to come back on? And Victor's like, sure. Let me set up something. And he contacted me multiple times. I got myself. What did you call the shack today that made me laugh?
The Spook Shack.
The Spook Shack.
Yeah.
And he was just like, he really puts a lot of time and effort into everything that he does. And for him to come on the show is an honor and a privilege for me and everyone out there watching. So thank you, Victor.
Thank you, Tom. I try really hard. It doesn't yield results most of the time.
Well, I guess you and I are in the same boat, paddling in the wrong direction, doing circles in the lake.
From lack of skill, not from lack of trying. So
there it is.
We are. All right. I have a third story.
Go for it, bro. I have a bit of a cold.
Oh, shoot. Wow.
Yeah.
You okay? Vitamin C and elderberry and all that?
Oh, no, not that one. Not that one. This is like 90-degree weather and air conditioning, sleeping at night, waking up with a dry mouth kind of thing. I'm not worried about the Movid. Not at all. Doesn't bother me.
Well, you poor thing. It's 40 degrees and I'm getting hit by mini tornadoes. But,
I sympathize. You'll be fine. It's smoking hot out here. Did you pour concrete in the pool today for 8 hours in 95-degree weather?
No, I did not.
You poor thing. We both have our own cross to bear, Reverend. And yours is freezing tornadoes, and mine is the baking sun. You know what I mean? Especially with, being my complexion down here, I'm literally melting into the pool and becoming part of its sealant. Well,
you have a swimming pool now, and I have what is tantamount to an ice fishing shack.
No.
So,
I'm building a swimming pool for a retired author who retired into Mexico. I make literally, dude. Literally, you ready? I make $25 a day. I don't want to hear anything weird.
What?
That's what I make. Welcome to Mexico. Welcome to Mexico.
You've got me beat.
Yeah, dude. Got to do what you got to do. Got to feed my babies, son. I'm saying.
I hear that. All right. Hold out for 50 on the next one, okay?
That'll be tomorrow. I just got a message from our boss. I'm gonna be putting in some solar panels, so I get $50 a day for that one, which is good money down here. It's like more than 5 times the minimum wage.
Well, there you go. There you
Yes.
go. The value of labor negotiations. There you are, man. We already got you up to double
I'm
your
working on
pay.
it. What do you think I'm on I'm on the podcast. I don't see this going anywhere anytime soon, but I'm hoping that maybe it can help somewhat supplement, like maybe a lamp, like a light, so you can see myself, so you can see me. You know what I mean? We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. It's not important. It's more, I'm having more fun talking shit with you than actually going into your stories.
I prepared for that, but not well enough. I mean,
okay, I'm sorry.
you know, I
We'll get there.
figured
We'll
we
get
would
there.
go off the rails.
Yeah, we'll get there, buddy. Okay,
Yeah.
so story number 3.
Plus, this is gonna make money, man. Just keep at it. I mean,
Thank you, man.
hopefully people stay to the end of this disaster episode. But I
At
think
the
we'll get to an hour.
at the end of the episode, there's going to be a special offer from Victor. I'll let you think about what that offer is going to be while you're presenting your third story. No pressure, but do not mess up.
Okay. All right. So Granger Taylor.
Okay.
A man with 2 last names, with 2 last names instead of 2 first names. Granger Taylor was a Canadian who disappeared in 1980.
Oh, the year of my birth.
Yeah. Now, this one we're not going to have any government involvement in this on account of the fact it's Canada, and I'm not even sure if Canada really has a government. That one
Not anymore.
Canada.
Not anymore.
Man, it blew my mind.
Yeah. True that.
First, it's 90 degrees in Mexico, and I don't know, and now Canada's parliament has toppled.
Dude, I am the bearer of information. You know me. It's like a ticker, like the Tom ticker.
You heard it here first, folks. But
Granger Taylor, I remembered.
Granger Taylor. He was a savant of a person. He dropped out of 8th grade. In Canada, it's like hard to explain. I'm basing my knowledge of the Canadian school system entirely around stuff I saw on Trailer Park Boys. So I'm guessing you can kind of like not go through high school and just kind of enter the workforce. They talk about that all the time.
Yeah, thick glasses, the whole thing. I got you.
Yeah, they have grade 8s and grade 9s and whatever, but he stopped at grade 8.
Okay.
Now, Granger was a mechanical genius, however. He rebuilt a decommissioned locomotive by himself.
Wow.
He used spare parts to build a single valve engine car, like an old Stutz Bearcat from the 1920s.
Okay, yeah.
He built that out of old spare parts. He rebuilt a World War II, no, excuse me, let me back that up. A Kitty Hawk test plane. Not the Wright brothers plane, but one of the other ones. The ones that didn't work. He rebuilt that. But most fittingly, Granger Taylor built an unidentified flying object. Which in itself, it's an oxymoron because you know what it is. But he built a spaceship. It's unknown if the propulsion worked, but he got everything else right. Like it looks like a UFO if you ever look it up.
Okay.
The Canadian Broadcasting Corporation made a documentary about Granger called Spaceman, one word, and you can find it on Amazon Prime. So in 1980, Granger had apparently been having dreams about traveling around the universe on a spacecraft. Aliens had made contact with him. And one night, it was a dark and stormy night. But one night, Granger leaves a note for his parents, whom he was living with. I have the exact note, as a matter of fact. I'll read it off. There's one or two misspellings that lead to him, um, very clearly not passing his grade 9. He uses the word will twice, but I'll look that up real quick. Feel free to make a zinger or two.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Yeah, no, I'll do my best. No pressure.
Okay. We need some filler, Tom.
Most of the time, people say that you need a hobby. This guy had a hobby, but what this guy needed was a girlfriend. You know what I mean? If you have, if you got to go and take the trash downstairs, you have no time for UFOs and welding.
He got more done than the average incel, at least. I'll give him that. But this is November 29th, 1980. Dear Mother and Father, I have gone away to walk aboard an alien spaceship. As recurring dreams assured a 42-month interstellar voyage to explore the vast universe, then return. I am leaving behind all my possessions to you, as I will no longer will, it literally says that, will no longer will, so that's sick, require the use of any, period. Please use the instructions in my will as a guide to help. Love, Granger. He then got in his 1980 Nissan Datsun pickup.
So he had a new truck?
Yeah, actually. He had a lot of money from reconditioning stuff around Canada, but he got in his Datsun. It might not have been in 1980, admittedly, but it was fairly recent.
Okay.
Datsun was acquired by Nissan in the 70s, I believe. And he left in a dark and stormy night and was never heard from again. His truck was found a few miles away in an embankment, abandoned. There were bone fragments in it and part of his shirt, but no sign of him otherwise. He has never been found.
Wow. So he stopped by Kentucky Fried Chicken on the way to the embankment.
Or he was abducted.
Or he was abducted. I mean, like, was it? There's a lot of those too. Like, we're just, there was a Betty and Barney. They're going to kill me out there. They're a very famous abduction story where they both experienced the same thing, and there's a ton of those where people just disappear. And why specifically these certain disappearances? Because we could go. There's a list of millions of people. I guess because of the oddness of it, or what they're able to do, and their letter to their family. I mean, why specifically did you choose these?
I specifically chose these. They get romanticized a bit because as you start to look into it, more questions just pop up around it.
Oh, wow. Okay. So it's like a true mystery.
Yeah. And it gets more and more convoluted. And I kind of like that. When I write, I don't think this is a good thing, but it tends to get convoluted like that. So, I like to get lost in a maze of just weird. If that makes sense.
So you're a writer?
Yeah.
What do you write?
I write short horror fiction, and I write my travel blog. That's Reverend V.S. Johnson on Medium. But I sent a story to Rye, and he actually never read it. Well, no, he probably read it, but he was going to do a creepypasta reading, I guess, and I think he got behind on those, and here we are now.
Okay, all right.
So, yeah.
I tried to read one of those creepypastas from somebody else, and I stink at those. I'm not very good at reading. I'm more off the cuff. Yeah, that's more what I do. That's what I do, I guess.
Well, yeah.
I guess.
And it works out.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
It does fine. I mean, I'm doing stand-up in Spanish now. Is that good?
Yeah. I can't do stand-up in English.
It is. I've done it. This is now my third language I've done it in. So
there you go.
I've gotten laughs in German, English, and now Spanish. So it's I don't know. Everyone has their own set of skills, and one of Rye's is that he can read creepypastas with a great sultry voice, and I can make dick jokes. Everyone's got their thing.
It's more laughs than I've gotten in English. Like I can't even get the laughs in English. So
Really, you've done stand up?
I've done stand up, yeah, years ago.
What's the problem?
And then we put a period on that. The problem is, stand up, man. I got out of it because it sucks. Like telling jokes.
The politics of it, or the actual stand up itself?
Yeah, pretty much, and I'll leave it at that. You
all
burn
right.
out, and then your ego gets hurt in different ways, and
Really,
yeah, depending on the comic.
That's the best part for me. I love when my ego gets smashed on stage and you fucking bomb and they call it eating a plate of dicks. I don't mind that at all.
Now
because that's the part of the process. You have to suck before you get good at it.
And I'm not talking about the crowd. I'm talking about booking and driving 200 miles a weekend and all the grunt work you got to do.
It's very hard, You're not going to get. I just do it because I enjoy the craft of it. That's not trying to get famous from it. That's not even important. I just like doing it because it's difficult to do.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Anyhow, we digressed once again.
Yeah, we got into a real heartwarming topic, and I apologize.
I thought that was me, and I should be the one apologizing. I'll take the shit sandwich. It's no big deal.
All right, I got one more for us.
Okay.
This is, for all intents and purposes, the man who created Disappearances. And I love this story for several reasons. But do you know the story, The Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge, Tom?
No, but I have to be honest with you, it does ring a bell somehow. I don't know why, but I've heard this somewhere.
It's a very famous story. It's been adapted to the ends of the earth, but it's about a soldier during the War of 1812, I want to say, but it's really any American war. He's being hanged for treason. And as he's on the gallows, in his last moment, as the executioner throws the switch and the boards fall out from under his feet, the rope snaps.
Wow.
Under the gallows, the soldier escapes, and he spends the rest of the story running. He meets a woman, he falls in love, but the whole time, not to spoil it, but the whole time, he's got this pain on his neck. And by the end of the story, the pain is so bad, he snaps back, and he's still on the gallows being hanged. It was a DMV.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. And
that is great.
This author was the first one to do that. Like I said, it's been adapted to death, where the person is dead and doesn't realize it until the very end. There's a film called Carnival of Souls that really does this justice. You can actually find it on my YouTube channel because I uploaded it. It's copyright free. It's public domain because they messed up. I forget how. Same way Night of the Living Dead messed up because they did the copyright under a different title, and
Okay.
Never copyright the working title, kids. So, the author, is that Chupacabra?
No, that's Mexico, dude. There's dogs always barking here. Always.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fun to sleep. You get a little sleep deprived sometimes.
Okay. It's kind of like that here, except it's mostly like car horns and sirens. But
we have car horns, sirens, people selling tortillas and corn and ice cream and dogs barking, people yelling up the steps. It's Mexico. It's just it's it's the noisiest place I've ever been to. Well, and I've been to war.
Now I want tortillas and ice cream, to be honest. So I'm not gonna lie, but the author of that story is a man by the name of Ambrose Bierce. Ambrose Bierce was also a serviceman. He was a journalist while working for the army as a soldier. And he is one of America's most prolific horror writers. He has influence that reaches out even to this day.
Okay.
He created what is known as the disappearance story. Now, a few things about Ambrose. His stories are all public domain for the most part. They're over 100 years old. His short story writing was profound in that he could convey a story in about 1,000 words. No story is over 3 pages. I've read a few of them on my own channel. You can find them again at Destination Spooky. But there was one story in particular about someone running a race. It's called an unfinished race. And by the way, I've read this one too, where a runner, well, someone is challenged to a bet. It's a single runner race. And this runner is running, and all of his friends are following him. And the local paper at the time, because, you know, we had nothing to do back then, is tracking him and everything. And as the runner closes in on the finish line, he trips. He falls forward, and he disappears into the asphalt. He is never seen again. The people who witnessed the disappearance firsthand are brought into court under suspicion of murder, but there's no evidence. There's no body. He's never recovered. This is the disappearance story. It's written so well, like a second-hand account. It's an amazing use of writer's voice. People will spread this story around to this day like it's a fact. If you go through any list site in 2012, they'll tell you about the runner who disappeared while running the race, not going into the fact that it's a short story.
Oh my God.
So Ambrose Bierce disappeared, of course. The end of his life is a question mark. Here's the big finish, Tom.
Okay, drum roll. You actually waiting
prior
for
to, well, let me get the exact. Well, no,
I love our awkward
time, and I'm like, wait, I don't want to misquote myself.
Our awkward timing is just fantastic, and I love it so very much.
Oh yeah. See, that's why I prepare for this. Because I know it's going to go sideways regardless. So, in 1913, Bierce, who had lived through the Civil War at this point, and he'd done some fighting out west, in 1913, he left his home in Washington, D.C. Guess where he went?
To Pennsylvania.
Close. You're sitting there right now.
Mexico.
He went down to Mexico while we were in the middle of... were we still warring with Mexico at this point? Because the Alamo had happened. Let me double check that.
I think it was late 1800s.
Yeah. He did join an army, according to this, Pancho Villa's army. But at a point in 1913, the day after Christmas, December 26th, and I got that off of Wikipedia in case anyone wants to yell at me for not citing sources. I did the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. We did Wikipedia. Kenny Veach, you can find on Bedtime Stories YouTube channel. Greg Reichart, I saw that on Crack. There it is. Crack.com, Bedtime Stories YouTube channel, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, and Wikipedia. Done.
There we go.
We're clear. We're not going to get an H-Bomber Guy video out of this. I don't think. I mean, it's poorly done, but at least it's cited. So,
there we go.
The day after Christmas, Ambrose Bierce disappeared in Mexico without a trace. And the reason I close on that is there's no more fitting an end to the writer who popularized the disappearance story than to disappear himself.
Bravo, my good friend. That was fantastic. Now, I'm going to ask you some questions.
Okay.
What drives you to do what it is that you do? Because I find you to be, I mean, I've met a lot of characters in my life, especially doing stand-up and being in Europe for 20 years and now being in Mexico. I've met a lot of characters. You're one of the unique ones. So what is it about you that makes you do what you do?
I don't know, man. I just, I don't like the four walls around me, if that makes sense. You know, I'm always looking for something more. I'm always trying to see the forest through the trees, I guess.
Yeah, dude, that makes plenty of sense. That makes plenty of
Yeah.
sense. And does do psychedelics help you with that?
I mean, a little bit. I rarely do them as much anymore, but really psychedelics I use to adjust, you know, for normal mental health things. I do
Oh
believe in
yes.
microdosing, but really completely sober, I love traveling. I love having adventures because the thing I've always found about the horizon is it just keeps going. And I like that.
So now that is an answer to a question, my friend. That
Mm.
is very, very unique and special. I think we're both kind of travelers in our own way, aren't we? I think we
Yeah,
really are. You know, I mean, you're
absolutely.
traveling throughout the states, following stories and leads and lines from the past because you find it to be very interesting. You're going down a different route, depending on which part of the country you're from, to make sense of your existence. And I think that's fucking phenomenal. You know what I mean?
Well, thank you. Yeah.
You're so dry, dude. You're so dry.
I don't know how to elaborate on that. I don't take compliments.
It's just there's a thing where like I'm trying to like don't take this the wrong way. I'm trying to reach the human inside of you.
Yeah.
That
That,
sounds
that, that,
that's a
that, there's a long journey of which you'll never return from.
that
So
is
turn back now before you
that,
disappear.
that's a Sandusky line if I've ever heard one.
God.
But dude, thank you so much for coming on. And as always, dude, you bring it, man. I love your strange, awkward energy. I love your channel. Once again, excuse me, pardon me. Please tell the viewers, the listeners, whoever's watching this, who decided to stay till the end, once again to hear your beautiful insanities, the way I'll put it, where they can find you, my friend.
You can find me on YouTube at Destination Spooky. If you Google it, I come up first. You will also find me, Reverend V.S. Johnson, on Medium, where I write travel blogs in my spare time.
Wow, that's fantastic, man. And I think maybe eventually, this is an idea. I don't know if you have the patience for it because I'm thinking about doing it, but I don't know if my patience will allow me. Write a book. You like read a book about your adventures. I think you could actually get like put something interesting into the world that no one's seen yet because I don't know anyone like you.
Well, I actually did. I never sell any of these. So
Man, I am so man, I am so like ahead of my time.
I I gotta get one of these physically printed, but I wrote a travel guide to Roswell, New Mexico,
Oh,
called
that's cool.
Destination Roswell, is where you can find it. Be sure to get Destination Spooky Presents Destination Roswell because there was a different Destination Roswell book written in 2019 that I'm sure is wonderful. I just haven't read it. So Destination Spooky presents Destination
Precision
Roswell.
Roswell.
Again, you'll find that under
All
Victor S.
right,
Johnson.
Victor. As always, sir, you are a blessing, and I really appreciate that you took your time to come and visit me on my small channel. And like just yuck it up a little bit, like give people a different perspective on life. Being a traveler and being a person who, like you says, who looks at the horizon and realizes that the horizon never ends. And that's kind of what this channel is about. It's about, all the things that the intro says, cryptids and spookiness and all that kind of thing. But at the same time, it's about life and what is this? What is this incarnation that we happen to find ourselves in? And I think you are living a very interesting and special one, my friend.
Well, thank you, Tom. And again, happy to be here. You'll get there, man. I got there, and you see my channel. So,
Yeah,
you know, you'll
I
get
freaking love your channel. It was
yeah.
one where I can't. I think you went to Lee Harvey Oswald's grave and you took like a e-meter or something. No, dowsing rods. I think it was.
Best
And you had me.
conversation I ever had. No offense.
It was
That's the
so
best
funny.
conversation I ever had.
Oh, oh man, even better than this one. Oh, come on, Victor. Anyhow,
Yeah.
dude. Thank you very much. Go over and like and subscribe to his channel and follow Victor on his travels. And hold on one second, my man, and I'll get right back to you, okay?
Okay.
All right, buddy. So that was the wonderful and always exciting and strange Mr. Reverend Victor S. Johnson. I hope you guys really enjoyed that one. If you find yourself coming back to the channel without subscribing, go ahead and do so. Hit the like bell, all that stuff. You know, people always like to hammer you on the head like that. But yeah, man, that was a fun one. And remember, we are the eye and we are aware. See you again next time. Later.